So, guys, welcome to the top five things that Star Trek means to me. What does it mean to you? Well, these are personal and sort of things I've thought about for years. And so, as a Trekker, Star Trek means so much to me, as I'm sure it means a lot to you. So here, in no particular order, really, I'm not rating these. These are my five most important reasons why I love Star Trek. So, the awe-inspiring sci-fi exploration. Can you beat it? It's really hard. Now, for me, I always loved science. I almost went into like a college prep biology, like honors, in high school. And then as a kid in grammar school, like 10, 11, whatever, 12, I would routinely win the school science fair. So it was like a science fair test that you would, try to pass. You'd take like an aptitude test, and then they would bring you on to another competition, like more of almost a county or statewide. So, and I always won it. So, yes, I was, and I still am a science geek or nerd. So, the whole science fiction exploration in Star Trek is just irresistible to me. Comedy and drama, or what I think Star Trek is one of the funniest and, of course, most dramatic shows in franchise, but it's one of the funniest shows, be it Bones and Spock and their dynamic and their sort of love hate, Data and Geordi, Quark and Odo, even say Neelix and Tuvok. Neelix is not certainly not one of my favorite characters, but with Tuvok it was fun, right? So Trek is just really funny. It's one of the funniest shows around. It makes me laugh more than many true like out and out comedies. And of course, it's incredibly dramatic. Those moments, such as say Edith Keeler, the Kirk's doomed love, or say Spock's tragic and selfless death in Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan, make it so highly dramatic. So it's that comedy and drama, sort of like the masks of theater, right? The drama and the comedy, which I just love. All right, this is a real personal one, and this is the personal bonding that I really had with my dad. It's kind of emotional too. My dad was an amateur sort of astronomer. He wasn't employed, but he was just an amateur guy. He loved telescopes. He bought a telescope and we'd use it. And in the army, he was in the army as a radio specialist. So he sort of like, gave that to me. He conveyed a lot of the astronomical interest and stuff about the stars. So he was never that I could remember really a Star Trek fan himself, but it sort of like he bonded or he gave that to me. I remember as a very young child. So it's that treasured aspect of Star Trek's and that connection to our relationship that I always treasure and hold dearly. The special effects of Star Trek are stunning. All right, that's it. No one can say contrary. Everyone loves sci-fi, right? Everyone loves the special effects of sci-fi as us as fans. Now, Star Trek does, I think, FX, better than almost anyone else. Maybe Star Wars, okay, fine. But in terms of television and in terms of then in the movies as well, it's Star Trek. The classic original episodes, they were groundbreaking. And many, I have some friends or people, oh, they're kind of corny or they're kind of dopey. They dismiss the original in terms of visuals. But any of these, pro sort of effects guys today, special effects artists today will tell you that the original shows, it pioneered many groundbreaking things in visual effects. And not only in the visuals, and this is where I think even big fans kind of forget, it's also the sounds of the Enterprise, the gear, the phasers, the communicators, the tricorders, right? We all know when we hear that chirp with the communicator and, beam me up, Scotty, and he's flipping it open. We know what that is. And it's so iconic and it's so powerful, right? And then, of course, into the next generation era and beyond with the movies, with Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. It's just effects are stellar with Star Trek. And finally, I wrote for Star Trek. I wrote scripts and episodes for Next Generation, for Deep Space Nine, and I pitched a lot to DS9 and Voyager. So, for me, as a screenwriter, Star Trek will always be so important and so emotional and special to me. And that's what kickstarted my career. Subsequently, then, I've written many articles, I've written books on Star Trek. And now I have a YouTube channel where I do a lot of videos, of course, and you're watching one. So Star Trek to me as a child started watching it at 4 years old. Then all through my life, my dad gave me, sort of a science fiction and appreciation for astronomy and stars, and I found it, and I haven't let go. I don't know about you. I don't think I'll ever let go of Star Trek because that's how important and meaningful it is to me. What do you think? Let's hear your thoughts. Give us your feedback. Why is Star Trek so important and special to you? Hope you're subscribing. Hope you're enjoying. See you soon.